Hey everybody. So you've probably seen that I've gotten some good grading done. I got the essays and your applications done. I feel bad for getting so far behind. My goal is to have the second half of the semester be all the way caught up, so I'm grading things right as they come in. Um, I'm doing week 5 and week 6 feedback this week, so next week I should be able to do week 7 and 8 and be able to like be all the way caught up. So apologies, and let's dive into this. So the ethical dilemma, I saw a lot of really good stuff going on. Um, One I want to highlight is Kylie's. Um, and there are a number of things that I like about it that I want to point out. Number one, the format. Really clear to tell what's going on here. Like, here's the prompt, here's the person. Dear Joan, exactly what this is supposed to be. The rhetorical context was right on. Here's me responding to a person that has a dilemma. And as such, when you're responding to someone, you want to be like hug, slap, hug of like, I understand this is a dilemma, this is difficult. And Kylie does exactly that of like, wow, this is a hard situation. Even like um, 2 sentences of, wow, this is difficult. A sentence of, yeah, this is my summary. This is the way I view what's going on, kind of a summarizing. And then you merely act as stepping stone from this in the case it's sensible to use your current pay scale. I love the nuance here where it's not just you are unethical in what you're doing and here's why, like all of the things are wrong, but like, no, if you're doing this, this is okay. However, it goes, um, if you do, if you have this pay scale, you need to be clear about what that is. So like, I'm not saying that this is the right stance to take. I'm saying that whatever stance you take, you need to acknowledge that there's going to be a messy mix of, yeah, this might be ethical, but this other aspect is not ethical. And I love that nuance here. Um, I also love how there's the, okay, here's the teenagers, and then where the adults are concerned, here's this about that. A number of you chose this prompt, but only addressed to the teenagers. I wanted to hear, okay, well, that's half of it. What about the adults, though? Is that ethical or not ethical? By leaving it out, you're implying that it is ethical, but I wanted more specifics. I also liked the role exchange test. I think a number of ways to have kind of a framework of like, okay, here's what Kant has to say about that. Here's what blah blah blah. Whatever you wanted to do, um, I recommended that Kylie move this up further earlier so that it could be like a here's. I felt like it was a stronger point that could have been better served up earlier, but the fact that it's in there, I thought was really strong. So okay, we got ethical dilemma, the internship application. Now we've got some bigger assignments here near the middle. So I want to point out Ryan's. I thought there were a number of things he did quite well that I want to highlight. So also starting out, just the formatting. The name is big. It's very clear what the paragraphs where they are addressed to a specific person. I think maybe Ryan could have had like a line or something that maybe a bolded something to kind of add a little bit more variety, a little bit more breaking things up, but good white space use. Um, so one of the things I liked quite a bit was this second paragraph of the specifics of like, here's my GPA, here's my current job, what I've done, here's this thing. Um, Whenever you can, you want to show rather than just tell. You want to say, I'm great at this. What does that look like? It looks like this specific quantifiable piece of evidence that I'm going to share. Um, another thing that, well, one thing that I think Ryan could have done better was to start out with um, a more clear purpose. I am applying for this internship. I think I will be a great fit because blah 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 blah. Right now, he starts out with, "I have these strengths," and Mr. Johnson might be like, "Well, wait a second. Are we on the same page? Are you applying for this internship? Like, I'm not sure yet." And then he'll piece it together if he's reading closely. You don't want to assume that the person is reading closely. You want to assume that they have 2 minutes to look at your thing, and how can you convince them in 2 minutes? How can you make them want to read 5 minutes on this, of the hundreds of ones that they're looking at? On that note, you Amos, Logan, um, you want to make sure you want to be sure that you're focused on their needs, not your needs. So there were a number of times that I saw this internship would be so great for me. I would love to have this. And they're going to look at that and be like, it would be great for the hundred of other people who are applying for this too. Why should I hire you over them? You want everything, whenever possible, to be focused on them. Of like, here's why all of these needs you have, I am the person that will be able to fill those the best. And I hate job applications for this reason because I feel like I'm trying to sell myself. Um, and that bothers me, but that's kind of the name of the game. Um, so as humbly as possible, use specifics and concrete, like let them draw the conclusions. You don't have to say, man, I have a great attitude. Be like, here's this stuff. And from that, they will say, wow, this person has a great attitude. Um, that's what you're going for. So I had a pretty low baseline for um, the revise and resubmit. So I would, if I were to ever give a zero, it would be like a serious problem. But in this situation, it was like, this one's mostly good, but there were some flaws. Um, Go ahead, revise and resubmit with the intention that like you make a stab at it, you try your best to address the things that I say. I'll give you full points on it. There were also a few that I did give full points to, but that were like I gave some advice to. So don't just like, oh, I got full points, I don't need to look at this. Try to look at the advice that I gave, whether you got full points or not. This video was a bit longer than I intended. It was because of the two big assignments that I really wanted to dig into. There's no like final part that has something interesting visually or spiritually or anything, so I apologize for that. But I will probably include something. I've taken some really cool pictures that I'm proud of that I'd like to show you about how my summer's going. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a nice week.